Jonas practiced guitar 1 hour a day for 2 years. Bradley practices the guitar 2 hours a day more than Jonas. How many more minutes does Bradley practice the guitar than Jonas over the course of 2 years? First, I want to throw out there's more than one way to go through this problem, so the way you organize your thoughts is okay with me. My method is just one method. My method would be to figure out Jonas's practice time for 1 year, multiply that up to 2 years. Go ahead and add to get the amount of time Bradley practices per day. Figure out 1 year, figure out 2 years. Subtract the two guys, go ahead and get the difference in the two guys' practice times for 2 years. And then convert. This is one of the sneaky things I've been warning y'all about. When we're working with conversions, the whole problem might say one conversion, and then in the end, it swaps conversions to minutes. So that's one thing that was also sneaked in. This had several steps in it last night. So starting with Jonas's, and I'm also going to put hours to keep in mind that I'm still working in hours. Jonas practiced 1 hour a day for 2 years. If he practices 1 hour a day for 1 year, do y'all already know in your mind how many hours he practices at 1 hour a day? 365 hours. A conversion that I didn't add to this sheet, and I probably could have, was to let y'all know there's 365 days in a year. So 365 days times 1 hour per day would be 365. You can go ahead and double that for 2 years. So either mentally or somewhere off to the side, you could have multiplied 365 times 2. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 6 is 12, plus 1 is 13. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So 730 hours in 2 years. Now we want to work on Bradley's. And we're still working in hours. For 1 year, I want you to keep in mind that it tells us Bradley practices guitar 2 hours a day more than Jonas. If Jonas is practicing 1 hour, I'm not going to write this down. I want you to do it mentally. If Jonas practices 1 hour a day and Bradley practices 2 hours more than that, how many hours did Bradley practice? 3. It's just 1 plus 2. So in a year's time, if there's 365 days in a year, and he is practicing 3 hours every one of those days, that's like the 3 hours are happening repeatedly this many times. And I cannot do that mentally, so I'm going to go off to the side and do that math. 3 times 5 is 15. Put down the 5, carry the 1. 3 times 6 is 18, plus 1 is 19. Put down the 9, carry the 1. 3 times 3 is 9, plus the 1 is 10. So this is for 1 year, 1,095 hours. Are y'all beginning to see some of the numbers you actually have on your papers too?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's for 1 year. What do I have to do to figure out his total for 2 years? We want to double that amount. We want to multiply times 2. So I'm going to do that over here somewhere. 5 times 2 is 10. Put down the 0, carry the 1. 2 times 9 is 18. Plus 1 is 19. Put down the 9, carry the 1. 2 times 0 is 0. Plus 1 is 1. 2 times 1 is 2. So in 2 years' time, that would be 2,190 hours. The next thing that we want to do is find out a difference, because it says how many more minutes does Bradley practice. That is your indication that it is a subtraction problem. Anytime you're comparing two things or finding a difference between two amounts, you should subtract. So Bradley's hours for 2 years was 2,190. Jonas's hours for 2 years was 730. 0 take away 0. 9 take away 3. Wait a minute. Okay. 1 take away 7. Can't do that. 11 take away 7. 4. And then 1 with nothing to take away from it. We're still working in hours. That's how many hours different. Earlier today on our warm-up, we talked about if you want to convert from one unit of measure to the other, you have to think, are you converting from a bigger unit to a smaller unit, or a smaller unit to a bigger unit? So, is it 1 hour bigger, or is 1 minute bigger?
1 hour.
1 hour is the bigger unit. So I'm going to rewrite this problem like this. 1,460 hours equals some amount of minutes, and this is our final step. Y'all said the hour was bigger than a minute, so the minutes are smaller. Do y'all remember the two people I told you that Miss Riddle had taught me? So this is going to be big, sassy, mama. So I will be multiplying to convert 1,460. Does anybody know the minute hours conversion number? It's simple. It's how many minutes are in 1 hour?
60.
Yes. So I will be converting by multiplying times 60, and then that will have how many hours longer, how many minutes longer that Bradley practices than Jonas. I've got to find a little space. I think I'm going to erase some work that I had already done. Also, I want to show y'all a shortcut that we've been doing in class. We've been taking our non-zero digits and multiplying them, and then bringing the zeros over to add value to the end of our problem. Do y'all remember doing that? So we can simplify this multiplication a little bit by multiplying 146 times 6 and then placing the 2 zeros at the end of this product. You also could just do standard algorithm, which would be just multiply this and this, and it would just take longer because it's so many more digits. But anyway, 6 times 6 is 36. Put down the 6, carry the 3. 6 times 4 is 24. 25, 26, 27. Put down the 7, carry the 2. 6 times 1 is 6. Plus 2 is 8. And so that would be 8, 7, 6. Remember, I brought 2 zeros over to add the correct value to the answer, to the product. So we're going to write that this is going to be 87,600 minutes. If you were writing your explanation at the bottom of the page and you did the same steps I did, I would say, I found out how long Jonas practiced in 1 year, and I doubled it to find out how long he practiced in 2 years. I also found out that Bradley practiced 3 hours a day, which is 2 hours longer than Jonas. So I multiplied how many days are in a year times 3 to get how long he practiced for 1 year. I doubled it, or multiplied times 2 to find out how long he practiced in 2 years. The next step would be I took the difference from Bradley and Jonas's 2-year hours. And when I got that amount, which was 1,460, I converted from hours to minutes. So Bradley practices 87,600 minutes longer than Jonas over a 2-year period. Okay, thanks, Dylan.